Good morning, everyone, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My paper is entitled English Language Performance of MSU Marawi Technology Students and its Correlates. I am Alyanah Goling Pantao, and I am from Mindanao State University, Marawi City. The dominance of English as the international language or the international lingua franca is now an established fact, hence no longer a subject for debate. This could be a welcome development to Filipino, in which, as in the other countries, former colonies comprising Castro's outer circle, English is widely spoken and learned as a second language. It is, however, saddening and sobering to note that the Philippines' dominance as the leading speaking nation in Asia now seems nebulous, or better still, a thing of the past. Before, the Philippines is known as the leading English speaking in Asia, but at present, it is very unfortunate to know that the English performance of the Filipinos deteriorated. Thus, the following questions have vexed English teachers in the last 3 decades. Why do many college students fail to grasp and follow simple instructions? What learner variables lie behind the difficulty? What teacher variables are perceived by students as accounting for the problem? Is the problem an upshot or function of bilingual education? Whatever the answers to these questions are, school must deliver on their commitment to produce learners who are proficient enough in the target language, which is the English, since this is the very object of the Philippine Bilingual Education Program. The case of the Mindanao State University is an interesting one. As a chartered government-owned institution of higher learning that attracts students from all walks of life and from all over Mindanao and beyond, it is the second home for both thousands of university-level and technology-level students. While students who score well on System Admission and Scholarship Examination or SASE or College Entrance Test or CET of the university, they will be eligible to proceed to a 4-year courses. However, for those who failed the SASE or SET exam, a 2-year course or technology courses will be allowed to those students. Who are the technology students? These are the students who are enrolled in English essential classes to address their needs because they failed the SASE exam or CET exam. They are also the respondents of my study. They are enrolled in 3 colleges: the College of Agriculture, College of Fisheries, and College of Forestry and Environmental Studies. This study used the qualitative-quantitative combined design. It aimed to find out the correlates involved in shaping, moderating, or determining the English language performance of the respondents. First, it sought to identify the different personal factors of the respondents, the psychological factors, and lastly, the social factors. After identifying the different personal, psychological, and social profiles of the respondents, the researcher investigated whether there is any significant relationship between the English performance of the respondents and personal factors. Second, whether there is any significant relationship between the English performance of the respondents and psychological factors. Third is whether there is any significant relationship between the English performance of the respondents and the social factors. In the treatment of the data, the researcher employed a descriptive statistics in the form of frequency, percentage distribution, and the mean to analyze the demographic profile of the respondents. In determining the relationship between the respondents' profile and their English language performance, the test statistics used was contingency coefficient. In the formula, x2 is the chi-square and n is the sample. It was used to determine the significant relationship between two categorical or nominal data. If the p-value of the test statistic is less than a, which is equal to 0.05 level of significance, then the formula or the formulated null hypothesis is significant and thus rejected. The p-value for a hypothesis test is the smallest significant level at which the null hypothesis can be rejected based on the sample data. If the p-value is less than the significant level, A is equal to 0.05, then the hypothesis is rejected. The final grade of the students, which are the English Essential A, towards the ends of the semester, was used as an achievement or the basis for analysis and interpretation. Now, let us proceed with the findings. First, we ask, is there any significant relationship between the English performance of the respondents and personal factors? So Table 1 shows the result of the investigation on whether there is no significant relationship between the personal factors of the respondents and their English performance. The factor that yielded the p-value were age and field of specialization. The age of respondents when computed against the performance yielded a contingency coefficient of 0.318 and a p-value of 0.007. Since the obtained p-value is less than the set of 0.05 level of significance, the interpretation is that there is a significant relationship between the respondents' ages and their performance in their English subject. Another having a significant relationship is with their performance in English is field of specialization of the respondents. It has contingency coefficient of 0.360 and p-value of 0.006. Since the p-value is less than that level of significance, the null hypothesis is rejected. So age and field of specialization as the salient factors make sense, although all of the respondents already passed the critical period as described by Leonard Birch, which is the time when language is learned most rapidly and efficiently. There is an advantage in adult learning. As explained by Brown, adult learners can benefit from grammatical explanation because of their cognitive development. So, the data implies that age and field of specialization have bearing on the respondents and indeed other technology students' performance. The other personal factors do not have significant relationships. So, let's move on. The second table is actually part of the personal profile, and this is the learning strategies adopted by the respondents to facilitate English language learning. So here, there are different enumerated learning strategies adopted by the respondents, and it reveals the investigation whether there is indeed no significant relationship between the learning strategies adopted by the respondents to facilitate English language learning and their English performance. They are the learning strategies adopted by the respondents to facilitate English language learning. They are categorized actually to metacognitive strategies, and this includes selective attention, self-management, self-talk, self-monitoring, and memorization. And then another is cognitive strategies, which includes memorization, translation, repetition, note-taking, imagery, and summary. And lastly, socio-affective strategies, which includes working with one or more peers, asking a teacher or other professionals, brainstorming, role-playing, and interviewing. So the data reveals that imagery obtained a contingency coefficient of 0.234 and a p-value of 0.029, the least of all the p-value for the factors. So this implies that there is a significant relationship between imagery and English performance. The next one is there any significant relationship between the English performance of the respondents and psychological factors? The answer is no. There is no significant relationship. Let's discuss why. In psychological factors, the researcher identified how the respondents view English as a medium of instruction, as a language, and as a subject. So, this is the result, how the respondents view English as a language. So, as we can see, all of these are positive. But of course, English is very important, ranked first. And English is not useful is the last. So this is the continuation of Table 3, the result of the respondents' view regarding English as a subject. So as you can see, they see English as interesting, very important, very difficult, easy, and then followed by boring and not important. Actually, nobody answered English is not important. And then this is the table that shows the respondents' views on English as a medium of instruction. Based on the data, it shows that English Essential students recognize the importance of learning the English language. From the results of the query, it implied that the respondents see English not just as an important part of their school life, they also see it as a useful tool to survive in the world of work. They even perceive it as an advantage in the workplace since they see it as the language of the professionals. So this table 5 shows the relationship between the psychological factors and English performance of the respondents. So as you can see, all of the remarks are not significant. Not significant, not significant. Even the continuation of this table, okay, so this is the continuation of the table 5. the relationship between psychological factors and English performance of the respondents. English is boring, not significant, not significant. So, as shown from the data, the item with the least p-value, it is necessary, has a value of 0.68. However, as it is still greater than 0.05 level of significance, the interpretation is still not significant. Therefore, the null hypothesis for all of the attitude is accepted. Interestingly, the result of the statistical treatment for this particular set of factors showed that no matter what the respondents think about learning the English, this has been demonstrated to have no bearing at all on their performance and grades in English. And then the last part is the social factors. So we answered the inquiry whether there is a significant relationship between the English performance of the respondents and the social factors. So as you can see, there are different special factors identified, such as the language used by the respondents in interacting with peers and in the community, other languages spoken in the community, and respondents' exposure to mass media. So this is the result. So as you can see, the remarks is still the same, not significant, with the language used by the respondents in interacting with peers and in the community, and other languages spoken in the community. So there were so many variables identified, not just one, not just two, a lot of them, and all of those are not significant. So this is the continuation of the previous slide, the table from the previous slide. So we have here the appliances available at home, and from the appliances available at home, we have three variables that have significant relationship with the performance of the students, and these are the TV set, PC laptop with internet access, and radio. We also have here the frequency and percentage distribution of the respondents' response on listening to radio programs. So for the programs in Filipino, this one has a significant relationship with the students or the respondents' performance. And we also have here the frequency and percentage distribution of respondents' response on listening to radio programs, and the same, based on the data, the program in Filipino has significant relationship with the performance of the respondents. And we also have here frequency and percentage distribution of respondents' response on watching TV programs, and based on the data, as you can see, English programs has a significant relationship with the respondents' performance because it has 0.423. Okay, so for the conclusions of this study, number 1, public schools need to strengthen their programs in English language proficiency since majority of the respondents who failed in SASE and SAT came from public schools. Number 2, although the respondents have positive attitude towards English and recognize its importance, the result of the inquiry point out that respondents do not possess or use the needed strategies and skills to perform well in their English subjects. Further, They do not use the English in different domains such as at home or in conversing with friends. Number 3, the learning strategies preferred by the respondents are still far behind and more interactive methods of learning. The data that shows that they would rather work in groups and would also rather consult their teachers suggest their lack of confidence to explore the English language. Number 4, respondents' performance is greatly affected by exposure to mass media. Thus, teachers and parents must provide pedagogical aid for them to have good performance. It is therefore recommended that administrators of Mindanao State University need to revisit their policies regarding technology students and textual materials used by English Essential students should be revised based on the findings of this study. Thank you very much for listening. Once again, I am Alyanah Goling Pantao from Mindanao State University, Marawi City.